Guys, how are you doing today? Welcome back to Random Lifestyle Vlog. So today I'm going to show you my whole palette collection, eyeshadow palette collection. So these are all the eyeshadow palettes I've got. What do you think? Do you think it's a lot or did you expect more? Let me know in the comments. So just to let you know, this video is not supposed to be a declutter video. I just want to organize my collection. I'm not against decluttering some of these palettes. I don't really hate the idea of getting rid of some of these, but it's not the main goal of today's video. So if I get rid of something, then I will. I don't really want to put too much pressure on myself. Anyway, before we get into details, let me just kind of quickly show you what we've got here. So in case it's not obvious, I really like Natasha Denona's eyeshadow palettes. I have quite a few of these. This is my whole large or midi palette collection, and here we have some of those small ones. Here you can see some of the large Huda Beauty eyeshadow palettes and some of those 9-pan ones. These 4 palettes over here are Polish brand Glam Box. I'm going to tell you more about them once we get there. Some Charlotte Tilbury over here. Anastasia Beverly Hills, a few palettes from Too Faced. Up here we have some Pat McGrath, and then there's also quite a nice collection of Louise. What else do we have here? Some Iconic London, some Tarte, a couple of Nars and Rowen palettes, some Morphe, and everything else we have here are kind of like single eyeshadow palettes. Like I have one from each brand, so I just randomly placed them here. Okay, so this is pretty much what we're dealing with. Let's dive a bit deeper. So we're going to start with some Natasha Denona. These are the 3 large palettes I've got. This used to be the standard size for Natasha Denona palettes. Now this is her standard size, something that used to be called midi before. I love the fact that her palettes are a bit smaller now. It makes so much more sense. The only difference between these large and midi palettes are the pan size. There's the same number of shades in these, but the pan size is a little bit bigger here. And also the price. Like these are pretty expensive, over £100 each, whereas the medium ones are not necessarily cheap, but definitely much more affordable than these. Out of these 3 large palettes, this is the one that I definitely think is worth the money. This is Natasha's famous Biba palette, and this one is just so beautiful. This is stunning neutral earthy palette. The quality is outstanding, such a beautiful palette. I honestly think this one is actually worth every penny, even though it is quite pricey. This one over here is Triochrome palette. This one looks quite pretty. I mean, I really love the colors here. I do think there are a couple of issues with this palette, according to me at least. First of all, I don't really find this palette particularly easy to use, especially if you are a beginner. You definitely have to be quite comfortable with using color in your makeup. Yeah, quite pretty, not super intuitive though. And the quality, even though it is good, it's unfortunately not as good as in Biba palette. It's good, not amazing. Also, this is supposed to be a Triochrome palette, and I guess these 3 shades are supposed to be Triochromes, but to be honest, I don't really see this Triochrome effect in most of these shades. I think there's only one here that's like a true Triochrome. The other 2 are definitely duochromes, but as far as triochromes go, I've definitely seen shades that look much better. And then last but not least, gold palette. This one seemed to be loved by so many people. And as you can see, it's a really beautiful gold palette with some bluish teal shades here. I've heard so many YouTubers raving about this palette, and this might be a bit of an unpopular opinion. I don't think I love this palette that much. It's nice, it's pretty, but I just don't really tend to use it. I don't know why, because it is a stunning palette. The shimmers here are to die for. We have so many different finishes here. They're just so pretty, but I just don't really reach for this palette that much. So the gold palette, as popular as it was discontinued, and then recently Natasha Denona released this golden palette, which is the newer version of the previous one, and this is what it looks like. Quite different, right? You might be a bit surprised, but most of the shades over here are repeats from the gold palette. I think there are only 3 or 4 new shades here. As you can see, all those teal blue shades are removed here. Instead, we have some lighter neutral tones. What we've got here is like a very sandy golden palette. I actually love it. I use this one much more than the gold palette. It's just such an easy grab for me. It's so easy to create a makeup with it. It's giving me this very neutral, summery look. I personally love it. As I said, this might be a bit of an unpopular opinion. I know there are a lot of people who loved the original gold palette, but I personally prefer this new version. And by the way, I'm showing you these palettes in a very random order. This one over here is Roxa from last year. And this is a really beautiful purple palette. I remember when I first saw it, I thought it was a little bit too pinkish for a purple palette, but no, I think it's actually pretty good. I really love the color story. I could complain about the quality of like one or two shades here because they're just not the most amazing compared to what Natasha Denona can do. But otherwise, I think this is a really good palette and I really love the color story here. Here we have retro palettes. I mean, look how stunning this one looks. This one is, I mean, I want to say one of my favorites, but to be honest, I do use Natasha Denona palettes quite a lot, so many of these I would consider my favorites. This is a really beautiful burgundy, pinkish palette. Love it. Next up, Glam, the ultimate cool toned palette. Another one that I use quite a lot. And here we have Retro Glam, which, to be honest, this palette has nothing to do with either retro or glam palette. Glam was this kind of very cool toned one. The retro is pinkish burgundy, and here we have kind of like a minty and sage greens with some pinks. So yeah, as I said, not much to do with the retro or glam palette, but I actually really like it. I think this one is quite unique, quite creative, and surprisingly easy to use. This one over here is Natasha's newest release, Bloom palette. This is what it looks like. The ultimate black and grey palette, Xenon. At the first glance, it might look a bit boring, but to be honest, it's the ultimate library of greys. So, especially if you're a makeup artist, this is such a great way to compile all those kind of like a shimmery grey shades. I quite like it. And yes, there's no pop of color here that will potentially maybe make this palette a bit more interesting, but I'm not mad at it. I can always use a different palette for a bit of colors, so yeah. I quite like it. I think this is a very useful palette, especially if you are a makeup artist, which I'm not, but I still appreciate this palette for what it is. Okay, since I mentioned colors, we have this pastel palette here. And I mean, look at this. This is such a unique Natasha Denona palette. It looks like crayon box or watercolors. I quite like it for what it is. Surprisingly, you can very easily create a nice makeup with it. Obviously, you have to be comfortable with colors, but yeah, it's not a very difficult palette to work with. I don't use it a lot. I use it occasionally. I'm not always in the mood for that type of makeup, but whenever I am, I always reach for this palette. It's so cute, isn't it? So the pastel palette is perfect for spring and summer, whereas this Yucca palette is like pure summer in a box. I mean, look at that. This one is so stunning. Bronze palette, another one that's perfect for summer. This one is a little bit more neutral. We have those kind of beautiful bronze shades here. Definitely much easier to use than Yucca, but just as stunning. This one over here is Sunrise palette. I keep it mostly for like sentimental reasons. I think this was my first Natasha Denona palette ever. I still think it's beautiful, but I think the way it looks, like the color story, is a little bit dated, isn't it? Okay, I just keep on raving about this Natasha Denona palette, so let's talk about one that I'm not loving as much. This is Zendo palette. And I think this palette actually received quite a lot of criticism. And you know what? The color story actually looks quite pretty. The biggest issue with this palette for me was that it was a little bit difficult to work with. I have some issues with the quality of some of these shades. Some of them were pretty difficult to work with. The color story, as exciting as it looks, I also think the biggest issue for most people was the fact that these shimmers over here were not your typical Natasha Denona shimmer shades. They were very muted and not particularly shimmery. I think these are more metallics if anything, but even for metallics, they're not very metallic-y, if that makes sense. The ultimate autumnal shades, my dream palette. I mean, look at this. This is so pretty. And then we also have these two new neutral palettes. So we have I Need a Nude, which is supposed to be a little bit more cool toned, and then I Need a Warm, which is supposed to be a bit more warm toned. I love both of these. I think these are potentially my most used Natasha Denona palettes. Now, these two palettes over here, these are so-called face palettes, but they do have some eyeshadows here, so I decided to include them. And these two, not gonna lie, probably not the best purchases from Natasha Denona. This palette over here, this is the Love Face palette. The eyeshadows are alright, but this top bit over here is what I'm not really too happy about. This blush over here, not particularly flattering for most people, I would say. And this highlighter, this kind of like a yellow gold highlighter, why? Similar story with this hyper neutral face palette. I mean, these eyeshadows are actually quite pretty. These are creamy eyeshadows, and they're perfect for this one and done monochromatic eye look. You just use your finger. Then on top of that, we have these blushes and these bronzers here, and to me this does not really make much sense. So if you have these creamy eyeshadows that you can apply with your fingertip for convenience if you're traveling or whatever, then why giving us pressed powder, bronzer and blush? I think this palette would make so much more sense if we had a creamy blush and a creamy bronzer or highlighter here. That would be so much better. Next up, I have lots of these 5-pan palettes. As you can see, one of them is bigger than the rest. This is the kind of original size 5-pan palette with bigger pans. This is so-called palette number 2. Really beautiful color story. And I have 16 of these smaller 5-pan palettes. As you can see, most of them have very kind of like easy to wear neutral shades. I'm not going to be showing you every single one of these, but these two are probably the most popular. This is Mini Zendo and Mini Retro palette. And let me tell you, they're so pretty. I'm not even surprised that these are so popular. This one over here is Mini Triochrome palette. Not much to do with the original Triochrome palette, the large one, but I actually quite like it. It has really beautifully saturated blue shades here, so that's not something I have in other palettes. This one over here is actually Mini Gold. So if you remember, the gold palette was obviously gold, but the original one had some blue teal kind of undertones, whereas this one is more like in a greener tone. So that's quite an interesting approach. Oh, and this is probably my least favorite mini palette in my collection. This is Mini Pastel. This palette does not really make much sense to me. There's only one matte, this green one over here. The other 4 shades are metallics or shimmers, and I don't know, I just don't really think you can make a cohesive makeup with it unless you really love your colors. But I mean, why is everything so shimmery here? Oh, and I also have one of these baby palettes. This is Baby Love. So this one only has 3 shades. So next up we have some Glam Shop, a Polish brand with like a really high quality eyeshadows. The packaging is made of cardboard, so it doesn't really feel very luxurious, but it is actually reflected in the price. So these are not super pricey, but the quality is amazing. I mean, especially those metallic shimmery shades are just so pretty. I mean, let me show you the rest here. I mean, look at this one. So I have 2 of these bigger ones and then 2 of these smaller ones, but they are just as stunning. And this one here is so pretty for summer. Okay, Huda Beauty comes next. I think I have most of these large Huda Beauty palettes apart from the nude one, which I think it was still stunning, but I just kind of didn't think I needed that. I bought the Naughty Nude one, which, look how pretty it is. I feel like I don't really use Huda Beauty large palettes as much as I should. I tend to reach for Natasha Denona or Charlotte Tilbury or Huda Beauty smaller palettes most of the times, but these larger ones definitely need a little bit more love. This is Icy Nude from last year, the ultimate cool toned palette. I love it. Mercury Retrograde. I mean, I love how creative Huda Beauty is with these color stories and formulas of these shades. I just love them. This is pretty grunge. I mean, how cool is this one? And here we have Empowered. And then I have these 2 palettes. These are a little bit older. I still love the way they look, but I don't really feel as tempted to use them. So this is the Rose Gold Remastered. I think when it was first released, the quality was a bit lacking, but then it was reformulated, and yeah, this one is pretty good, and the color story is really pretty. It's just not really something I feel very tempted to use a lot of the times. Like when I look at the other Huda Beauty palettes, I'm like, why am I not using these? Whereas when I'm looking at this palette, I'm like, well, I love this. I love looking at it, but I don't really feel tempted to create my makeup with it. So yeah, it's a beautiful palette. I'm definitely going to keep it. And then we have this Desert Dusk palette. And this one I'm probably even less tempted to use. I did use this one a few times, a good few times. I don't know if you can see, but this shade actually has quite a big dent in it. But no, I mean, currently I don't really feel tempted. I'm still going to keep it. But now that we're moving to Huda Beauty £9 palette, I think I might finally declutter something. So when it comes to these £9 palettes, I feel like Huda started really strong with these gemstone palettes over here. They were so cool. I kind of wanted to have all of them in my collection. Then there was a time that she released many of those kind of like a boring, almost very lackluster collections, and now she seems to be back with all her creative energy, so I love that. I don't love all of her ideas, but I love how creative she is. But anyway, we're going to start with those gem palettes I have here. As I said, at some point I wanted to have them all. Now I have 5 of these. I think I might have decluttered some of them before. But yeah, currently I own 5 of these, and I think it's probably time to say goodbye to at least some of them. So let's have a closer look. So this one over here, Gemstone Obsession. I was thinking of decluttering this palette a few times, but I keep on having these ideas of like potentially using these colors as a pop of color with like other palettes, but I never do. So I think I gave it too much time already. I do not use this palette. I used it a few times, but I don't really use it enough. So I think I'm going to declutter this one. Next up, Topaz Obsessions. I really love this color story. I did use this palette quite a lot. I mean, you can't see that, but I did use it quite a lot. I do feel like I have so many palettes with a similar color story now. I do not need this one. So yeah, I'm going to declutter this one as well. Next up, Morphe Obsession. And another one I actually really liked, but yeah, I don't really feel inspired when looking at this palette. I don't feel tempted to use it, but I think it's time to say goodbye. Next up, Emerald Obsessions. I think I'm probably going to keep this one. Like, I really love greens in my makeup, and as much as I have some, not necessarily green palettes, but palettes with like a pop of green, I don't think I have all these shades there. So I think I'm going to keep this one. And then last but not least, Ruby Obsessions. Another one I really liked. I did use it quite a few times, but I think I'm probably done with this color stories. So yeah, without any regrets, I'm just getting rid of that one too. Okay, so I'm keeping one of these for now. Next up we have these Nude Obsessions, and these were so good. Not only the color stories were beautiful, but also the quality was impeccable. So yeah, I love them. This was the lightest one. Here we have the medium one, and here's the rich nude. I mean, these are stunning. I'm not even debating here. I'm keeping them. Now, I did mention these kind of lackluster collections from Huda Beauty. I have some palettes from these collections. So this is from the Brown Obsessions, Wild Obsessions, and Haze Obsessions. I just don't really think these palettes were amazing. Also, the quality was just okay. So yeah, let's see what we've got here. So first up, from Haze Obsessions, we have Khaki. And what do we think? I mean, it is okay, but I think I used it like twice maybe. Do you know what? I'm just going to get rid of that one. Like, it's not supposed to be a declutter video, but the more palettes I get rid of, the bigger chances that I'm going to use the ones that I want to use, okay? Because, you know, it's going to be easier to find stuff. So I'm going to get rid of that one, but I think I'm going to keep the other two. So this is Toffee Brown from Brown Obsessions, and this one is okay. Like, not the most amazing, but okay. I'm going to keep it for now. If anything, I'm going to declutter it next time. And then from Wild Obsessions, I have this Python palette, which is probably the most interesting one. It's okay. Like, the quality is alright, nothing to write home about. The color story is quite pretty. I think I'm going to keep this one for now. I'm not going to be decluttering it. Now this palette here, I love it. This is Love Fest. Such a beautiful color story and amazing quality, love it. Same story with these Matte Obsessions here. These are such high quality palettes, I love them. The color stories are really pretty too, especially the Cool Matte one. I mean, these are really good, and I love how easy to use these are. Love them. And then we have a bit of a failed experiment, I feel like. I did mention that Huda has been very creative recently, and you know, sometimes when you are creative, things might go a bit wrong, and this is what happened here. I feel like these creamy eyeshadow palettes, They look really beautiful on a picture, like really beautiful color stories. But other than that, there are so many issues with these, and I just don't really think these are worth the money. I'm not going to be decluttering these though. I'm going to try and use them up. So yeah, these are actually staying with me. Okay, Charlotte Tilbury is next. So what do we have here? I have one of these large palettes. This Instant Eye palette, Smoky Eyes Are Forever, and I actually quite like it. I only have one of these. This is a really nice color story. Formulas of these shades are pretty good too. Yeah, quite like it. Then I have two of these. I think these are £6 palettes. So what we've got here is Charlotte Darling and the Super Nude. So Charlotte Darling is this one over here. As you can see, very typical nudie Charlotte Tilbury look, and the Super Nude look like that. Next up we have these two Beautyverse palettes. This one over here, this is the original Beautyverse. I actually really love this color story. And here we have Beautyverse Love from last year. This one is quite pretty too, but quite saturated for Charlotte Tilbury. Like usually her eyeshadows are not giving this super pigmented, saturated, dark, kind of dramatic makeup look, whereas here this is what we're getting. Like this is a very dramatic eye look that this palette offers. It also offers a really lovely pigmentation, great formula, but yeah, it's not your typical Charlotte Tilbury palette color wise. Then I have two of these beautifying eye trends. These are amazing. I think the quality is so good. These are not too expensive. We have really lovely color stories. I have the super neutral one, which is this one over here, and Emerald Effect, which is this one here. I love these. And then I have, I think, 13 of these quads. I'm not going to be decluttering these. I'm also not going to be showing you every single one of these because that would just take too much time. So I'm just going to show you the ones I like the most. And by the way, I think I did declutter some of those palettes I didn't like, because with these quads, you never know what you're going to get. Like some of these palettes can be really good, some of them can be okay, and some of them, honestly, can be pretty bad too. So I think I decluttered all the bad ones, and let me show you my favorite ones. So first up, the original Pillow Talk. Such an easy to use palette. It looks so pretty. Next up we have Exaggerize. Same story. It looks like it's almost unused, because it is, but that is actually my second palette. I already used up one of these, and this is my second Exaggerize palette. I think it's stunning. Such a beautiful neutral, very natural eye look. Next up, for a bit more color, we have Pillow Talk Dreams. The quality here is amazing. The pigmentation is so good, and the color story is on point. I love it. And then finally, we have the very famous Fire Rose. This palette, like everyone raved about it, then it was discontinued, and now it's back. So yeah, this one is really good, great quality. The color story is stunning. So yeah, I think these four are definitely worth the money. Now, a pricey little Tom Ford. I have 3 palettes, and this is one of my, I don't want to say it's my biggest regret or anything, but it's very close, I would say. I just don't really get the hype. Like, there are so many people who love Tom Ford, and apparently you either love it or hate it. I think I'm more in the second group. I mean, I don't really hate these palettes, but I honestly don't think they're worth the hype. So I mean, first of all, the packaging is stunning. It feels very luxurious, and I mean, the color stories are not like super creative or exciting or anything. The formula of these shades, not my favorite. These also come with these kind of like little applicators, which is such an old school thing. I never know what to do with them. I usually tend to like chuck them out because they just kind of annoy me. But that's definitely not the biggest problem for me. The biggest problem is just the formula that I don't really find that amazing, and the color stories, I don't really think they're particularly exciting. So this one over here is Leopard Sun. Here we have Pretty Baby, and out of these 3, this one's probably my favorite. I mean, I used this one the most often, although, yeah, I'm not really loving these. I mean, this shade is quite pretty, but yeah, not great. And then we have African Violet here. So I'm not going to declutter these because they were too expensive, so I'm just going to keep them. I do use them occasionally, but I'm definitely not going to try any more of these Tom Ford palettes. These are so pricey and so not worth the money, in my opinion, at least. I know there are people who love them, and that's fine. I respect that, but definitely not my cup of tea. What should we do next? Let's have a look at these iconic London palettes, because I feel like I want to get rid of these. I just don't really use them at all. Yeah, let's have a closer look at them before I decide. So this one over here is Day to Slay. That's actually quite pretty, but I think I have to be honest, I don't think I will use these. I've had them for a while now, and it's just not really working for me. So yeah, I'm just going to get rid of this one. Okay, next one, Desk to Dance, and this is what it looks like. I mean, again, it is quite pretty, very metallic-y. Like, I think there are only 4 mats here, which is quite an interesting choice. But I don't think I've ever used this palette, and I don't think I'm going to start now. So let's get rid of that. For a video that wasn't supposed to be a declutter, I'm doing pretty well, I think. And this is the last one. This is Nice to Naughty. And this is what it looks like. Again, we only have, I think, 4 mats in this one. It's very metallic-y. But yeah, pretty. I don't think I'll be using it. Okay, so let's get rid of my whole iconic collection. Okay, Anastasia Beverly Hills. I used to be obsessed with this brand. I used to collect these. And now I just don't really get much excitement from their new releases, or even like these older palettes. I mean, some of them I still really love, but let's see what we've got here. So I'm going to start with these two. These two were my favorites. I used to love them. This is Soft Glam. I mean, one thing I really hate about it is this kind of like a velvety finish here, and look how dirty this gets. I mean, it looks disgusting, but okay, it is what it is. This is the color story. It is really pretty. I still use it sometimes. I'm not obsessed with it as I used to be, but I mean, there are so many good palettes these days, but I think this was a stunning palette. It still is. It still is. It's just, you know, it's just the excitement is gone, okay? And the Norvina one, another palette I used to love. I mean, again, it is still pretty. It's still something I would use occasionally. The Sultry palette. Everyone seems to love this one, and a bit of a controversial opinion here, but I'm not a massive fan, okay? Like, it's an okay palette, but like, I don't know, maybe I bought it a little bit too late when this color story was not as innovative anymore. I mean, I still think this is quite a pretty eyeshadow palette, but I definitely have ones that I prefer over this one 100%, even from Anastasia Beverly Hills collection. Then I have a couple of these kind of very dramatic, colorful eyeshadow palettes. There was this vibe that they were going for, and these are quite cool. If you want to go for that type of look, I think these palettes are quite cool. So I've got this one, there's another one like that. See, dark, bold shades. Quite interesting, not something I'll go for a lot, but you know, sometimes I just might. These palettes, I actually really like them. There was a time, like several years ago, that there were some really good releases from Anastasia, and this is one of them. This is Primrose palette, and I really love this color story. I still use it quite a lot. These two blushes here are a bit redundant, but the eyeshadows, stunning. Same story with the Nouveau palette. I love it. And the Rose Metals. These are kind of like a newer eyeshadow palette. This is when I was still quite obsessed with the brand, and I was still buying every single new release they had. But yeah, this one was pretty good too. And then we have Fall Romance. This Cosmos one was the last palette I bought, and as much as it's pretty, I was a little bit disappointed with the quality of some of these shades. And then after that, there was like literally nothing that would catch my attention from Anastasia. I think they did release some palettes, I'm pretty sure they did, but I just didn't really feel like I needed to buy it. But this one was the last one. Oh, and I also have this Carly Bible one. This is what it looks like. Now let's talk about Too Faced. I have a very love-hate relationship with their palettes. Like, some of them are so good, and then some of them are just bad, okay? So I don't know if there's a rule, but it seems to be like whenever you get one of those like tin packaging eyeshadow palettes, these tend to be really high quality, whereas those cardboard boxes, completely different story, okay? So I used to really love these tin fall releases. These were so cute. So this is pumpkin spice, and these smell so good. And I mean, I really love this kind of like a very autumnal coral story. So this is stunning. This one over here is cinnamon swirl, and these are actually quite great. I love them so much. I kind of wanted to keep on collecting these. And then this one was released. This is pumpkin spice second slice. And I think this was released like a couple of years ago or something, and it's in this cardboard box, and honestly the quality seems to be worse. Like, I can't really explain that. It doesn't even smell as strong as the other two. And yeah, I mean, the color story is okay, but it's not really something I would insist on keeping in my collection. So I think I might actually get rid of that. It's pretty, but I don't think I need it, and I don't think I get any joy out of having this palette. So yeah, I'm just going to declutter it. Then this one, for example, Italian Spritz. This was more of a summer release, but again we have this kind of like a tin packaging and very summery shades, and it's brilliant. I love it. Such a good eyeshadow palette. But then on the other hand, we have this one over here, Cosmic Crush. Again, I think this was probably the last Too Faced palette I bought, and it's just so bad, okay? I mean, again, it looks okay, but the quality was just bad, okay? It was just a really bad quality. This is probably my biggest regret ever as far as purchasing eyeshadow palettes goes. It's bad, okay? It's really bad. I'm decluttering it. Okay, let's do Pat McGrath now. I do have quite a few palettes here. So we're going to start with these three over here. These are her Mothership Mega palettes from her Christmas collection. I really liked them. I wish she continued doing them. Last year she decided to do something else which I didn't really love, but I think these palettes were so good. So let me just show you these up close. This one is a Celestial Nirvana, and this is what it looks like. Celestial Divinity. And here we have Celestial Odyssey. I also got these two smaller palettes. They were her kind of Christmas release one year, and to be honest, I don't really tend to use these that much, even though they're actually quite pretty. So this one over here is Bronze Bliss, and these are the shades. See, quite pretty. I just don't really use it that much. This one over here is Nude Allure, and these are the shades. Next up we have the classic Mothership palettes. I have 7 of these. At some point I thought I would love to have them all, but now I just don't really think I use them that much. I mean, don't get me wrong, these are stunning, and I usually get so many compliments whenever I'm wearing these. But these are like very bold shades, so this is not something I want to use all the time. So as I said, I have 7 shades. I did not really buy the last 2 palettes, although I quite like the most recent release. I think it looks quite interesting. I know it has some mixed reviews, but I feel tempted to give it a go. But I digress. I did not buy the last 2 palettes, and then there are a couple of older palettes I don't own either. So this one over here is number 9, Utopian Dream. This one here is number 10, Moonlit Seduction. Number 7, Divine Rose. Number 5, Bronze Seduction. And I mean, look at these shimmery shades here, for example. The way they reflect the light, there's just something so unique about it. I've never seen a formula like that, or even like similar to that, done by any other brand. So yeah, that's why I love Pat McGrath. This is Mothership number 6. And the last 2 are not numbered, so I think this is one of the earliest releases, like number 1 or 2. I think it might be number 2. But yeah, it is really beautiful. And then the last one is probably my least favorite. Another one of those kind of like early releases. It doesn't say what number that is, but as much as I love the other 6 palettes, this one, I think I could live without it. So yeah, it's not the best one. And then I have 3 of these quads. And fun fact, I did not really buy any of these. I got them as a freebie when I was ordering some bigger palettes from Pat McGrath. So yeah, that's a brilliant freebie if you ask me. So this one over here is Ritualistic Rose. I mean, look how pretty this is. Here we have Interstellar Icon. And the last one is Bronze Borealis. Now I have some like smaller collections here. There's one bigger one over there, which is Louise, but we're going to do that next. Now we have Nars, Rowen, Morphe, and then we have some Tarte eyeshadows. So let's go for these. Nars, I'm not a massive fan of Nars eyeshadow palettes, so I only have 2 of these, and they were both included in something like beauty boxes or advent calendar, something like that. This one here is Cool Crush. I quite like the packaging, but yeah, this is what it looks like. It is quite pretty, but yeah, it's just not really my cup of tea. It doesn't make me feel excited. It doesn't make me want to use this palette immediately. So yeah, it's fine. I'm going to keep it. It's just not the best one. This one over here is, of course, Orgasm. I think every other thing they release is in this shade. I mean, I know it's popular, but it could be a bit more creative, I guess. I mean, I actually quite like this color story. This might be something I will end up using quite a lot once I stop forgetting about the fact that I even have it. So yeah, maybe now that I've decluttered some of the products, I still hope to declutter some more stuff, like fingers crossed. Hopefully I'll be able to find the stuff I want to use a little bit better. So yeah, these are staying with me. Then we have these 2 Rowen palettes, and I'm not a massive fan of these. Like, they're okay, but there's nothing to write home about. So this one is number 75. And this is what it looks like. So we have like 4 of these kind of like creamy eyeshadows, and they're okay if you like this kind of like a single shade eye look. You're supposed to apply them with your finger, and I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense, especially if you're traveling or so, but yeah, nothing spectacular. And this one over here, it's Eye on Me. And this one actually has 2 creamy eyeshadows and 2 kind of like pressed powder formulas. Again, nothing too exciting in my opinion, but still I'm going to keep them for now. Next up we have some Tarte, and I'm actually going to keep them because I really rate this brand. Although I don't really feel the need to have a lot of palettes here. So what I really love about Tarte is how basic these are, but in the best way possible, okay? We do need a good basic palette, and these palettes are extremely wearable. They have the most amazing formulas, especially if you, for example, have a very mature skin type. These eyeshadows are very silky, they're not drying, the shades are not super saturated, but they do have enough pigmentation. So yeah, such a really good quality basic palette. Like, everything is very wearable here. I love that. And also these smell so good. It's not like they're fragranced or anything, but they have a very pleasant scent to them. So this is Tarte's Pro. This one over here is a Eyes and Cheek palette, I think. And this is what it looks like. See, I mean, everything is very wearable. Pretty basic, yes, but in the best way possible. And this one over here is called Gleam Team, and it's a very beautiful nudie palette. And then we have the last 2 Morphe palettes I own. I did have quite a big collection of Morphe palettes, but then I decluttered most of them. And I don't necessarily regret it. I'm not saying they're bad or anything. It's just, you know, I have so many palettes, I sometimes have to make decisions. So these are the only 2 I kept, and I'm probably going to keep them still. This is the one with Jeffree Star. I know that Jeffree Star is a bit controversial and all, but you know what? I actually really like the colors here, so I'm not going to declutter this palette. I mean, look at this. Look how bright these shades are. Again, this is not something I would use all the time, but I don't have a palette like that in my collection, so this one is staying with me. And then we have Jaclyn Hill, and this one has been so popular, so many people loved it, and I'm not even surprised. This is a really beautifully made palette. We have so many wearable shades, and then we have some color here as well. If you want to go a little bit crazy with your makeup, you can do like a very natural day makeup with it, like a night makeup as well. It's such a good palette. I don't use it that much these days. I still think it's a really good palette, a good one to have, so I'm going to keep it. Okay, so this is the last biggest collection that we're going to go through. Then I also have some like single eyeshadow palettes from different brands that we're going to have a look later on, but now, Louise, I have quite a few palettes, and I definitely feel like I need to get rid of some of them. I think I'm going to keep the large ones. These are from their advent calendars. I mean, look how pretty this one is. So pretty, and it's like a burgundy pinkish palette, So many shades, like I don't think you need that many, but considering the fact that this brand is designed for like makeup artists technically, this does make sense. So yeah, it's a really beautiful palette. I'm going to keep this one. Same story with this palette over here, another one from the Advent calendar. This one, as you can see, the shades are completely different, much warmer with browns and oranges and peachy tones. So yeah, I'm going to keep this one. Then we have this one over here. This one was included in their last year's Advent calendar, so the most recent one. So this one looks like a little book, and it has different pages with different color stories. So I'm going to keep this one too. Now, these two little palettes, these also come from an Advent calendar from a couple of years ago. And well, first of all, they are quite cute, but this is what they look like. So this is the first one, and this is the second one. They're very kind of like a warm toned, bronzy, orangey shades. And I have a feeling that most of these shades are going to be here in this palette. I mean, if not identical, they're going to be close enough. So I have this whole palette with those like orangey browny shades. I don't think I need these two. So I think it's only reasonable to let these two go. So I'm going to get rid of these. Now these two palettes here, I think these actually come from a subscription box. I was subscribed to Louise subscription box for a bit. These are quite cool because you press here and this lights up. These are the shades. It's quite pretty, very nudie palette, and same with this one. They're pretty, but I don't think I'll be using these palettes anymore, so I'm getting rid of these two as well. This Keep on Track palette is for your eyes and face, so you have quite a lot of variety here. You have some cream eyeshadows, some pressed powder eyeshadows, and yeah, you can do this as well. This was in their Advent calendar last year, and I did not realize there was kind of like a hidden compartment here, but many of you pointed this out to me, so now I know. It has some like creamy shades. Like you can use these however you want to. You can use these creamy shades as a contour or bronzer shades, or you can incorporate them in your eye makeup. So yeah, that's what it looks like. I'm going to keep this one because it is quite cool. And then we have two more left. This one here is Vacation, and these are the shades. They're actually quite pretty, very summery. But to be honest, I've had this palette for a while, and I don't think I've used it even once. And you know what? I'm probably going to buy the Louise Advent calendar this year, so I think I don't really need that many of their eyeshadow palettes at this point. So I'm going to declutter this one, and I think I'm going to declutter this one as well. The last one, this is It Takes Two. It is actually quite cute, isn't it? It has 4 mattes and 4 shimmers in kind of like similar colors. That's a really cute idea, but I think I don't need it, so this one I'm going to get rid of as well. Okay, so this is Louise sorted. I'm keeping these 4. And let's move on to the rest of my collection now, which are kind of like a random single eyeshadow palettes, one from each brand. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, so there you go. The biggest one over here, this is Be Perfect Carnival, the Antidote palette. This one is stunning. I mean, look at this. Such a beautiful color story, so many stunning shades here. So I'm keeping this one 100%. I love how vibrant these shades are, but also the formula is so good. Like the pigmentation is amazing. So I'm going to keep this one. Next up, we have a bit of a controversial brand again, Lime Crime. I think this is the only Lime Crime product I own, but I really like it. This is their Venus XL2 palette. I really like the packaging, and I really like the shades inside. I mean, look at this. This is so pretty. So yeah, I'm going to keep this one. I'm actually hoping to declutter some of this stuff here. I've done so well with the cluttering during this video that I feel like I need to do some more, okay? Ooh, okay, this one maybe. This one I'm definitely going to declutter, although I think this is a really good palette for what it is. So this is MUA Makeup Academy Amber Sunset palette. Really nice shades, really good pigmentation. I just think I have so many palettes that offer a similar color story. Like, I don't think I'll be using it. So I'm going to declutter this one. This number 7 palette, I don't really find it particularly exciting. Like, I don't know. I just don't really feel like I even want it. So yeah, let's get rid of that. This Kiko Milano, I think I'm going to get rid of that too, only because I just don't really use it. This actually contains 2 shades only, and initially I actually wanted to keep it because these shades are quite pretty, the formula is good. The thing is, I pretty much never reach for it. I'm just going to do a reasonable thing and I'm going to get rid of it. Next up we have Kevyn Aucoin, and I mean, look at this fancy packaging. I'm actually going to keep this one because it is quite pretty, like a very cool toned neutral palette. I actually really like it. This kind of like a liquid highlighter is a bit redundant here. I think the palette is good the way it is. It doesn't really need this extra item. But yeah, I'm going to keep it. I quite like it. So yeah, this one is staying. This one on the other hand, Smashbox. I mean, again, this is a really pretty eyeshadow palette. I mean, these are these perfect neutrals. If you want to have this sculpted natural eye look, that is perfect. But I already have several palettes like that. From the top of my head, I have one from Charlotte Tilbury that looks almost like that. I also have one from Natasha Denona, one of those like 5-pan palettes. And then I have many more that are very similar but have a little bit of a sparkle added here and there, so I don't really need this palette, but I do think it's really pretty. Next up, the only Urban Decay palette I own, Wild Greens. And you know what, this one is interesting because, I mean, the quality of these eyeshadows is not the most amazing. It's okay, but it's not the most amazing, but I really love this color story. And whenever I wear this palette, I actually get some compliments, so yeah, I'm going to keep this one. This one over here is interesting. This is Hello Charmer by BoxyCharm. And you know what? Years ago, I was actually subscribed to BoxyCharm. Their subscription boxes were so good. I actually think American subscription boxes are so much better than the British ones. I mean, let's be honest, our advent calendars are superior, but American subscription boxes are so much better than ours. But anyway, I digress again. I was subscribed to this BoxyCharm subscription box. It was amazing, but they don't really ship to the UK. So I have to sort shipping by myself, and it ended up being quite pricey. So I decided not to do this anymore. But this palette was in my first BoxyCharm box, and I actually really like it. I think it's quite unique, especially some of those like shimmery shades, like this one over here. So cute. I used it quite a lot. Currently not so much maybe, but I definitely want to keep it, and I think I've actually used it a little bit more this summer. It's a very summery vibe. Next up, the only Rabanne palette I own. This one is in No More Drama, and to be honest, I completely forgot about this palette. I haven't tried it yet. I'm going to keep it. I mean, it looks pretty, but again, now that I cleared some space in my eyeshadow drawers, I hope I'll just reach for those like forgotten palettes a little bit more. Okay, here's another palette I completely forgot I own. This is Makeup by Mario. The shade is Rosy Glam. It's actually quite pretty. Never tried it before. Of course I'm keeping it, but yeah, I definitely need to do better with like trying some of the eyeshadow palettes I own. Now, Sephora Color Shifter eyeshadow palette in Pink Dimension. This is what it looks like. It's actually quite pretty. I like this topper shade, but this is something I tried once and I just don't really seem to be reaching for it anyway, so I'm just going to declutter it. Okay, let's just do that. Next up we have Ted Baker, and this is another eyeshadow palette I don't think I will be using. This is what it looks like. It's quite pretty neutral. I have so many palettes like that, so it's just something I probably don't need. Next up, Dominique Paul, the Culture palette. I actually like the look of it, but yet again, I don't think I've ever tried this palette like properly. I swatched it, and that's it. So yeah, I need to play with this one a little bit more. Next up, we have this palette here by U Star. Boho Glam, and this one I actually tried a couple of times. It's quite pretty. The glittery shade here though is not too impressive. Like, it's too creamy. It doesn't really, the glitter doesn't really transfer on my eyelids, so yeah, I wasn't like too impressed with that. Other than that, the shades were pretty good. It's just again because I was a bit disappointed with this glittery shade in the middle. I feel like that made me use this palette even less. So yeah, I'm just going to declutter it. Like, there's no need for me to keep it. Okay, here's another 2 eyeshadow palette by Luvia. They're really pretty. Both of these shades are really pretty, but I just don't think I'll be using it. So this one's going as well. Next up is Suku, and I've actually had quite a collection of these palettes, like 5 or 6, and I decluttered them all. This one is the only one that's left. I'm not going to try and pronounce the name of this palette, but these are the shades. I actually think they're quite pretty. The issue with Suku for me is that this is a Japanese brand, and I think it works best on a very light skin tone. So if you have this kind of like a porcelain skin, I'm assuming all these shades are going to transfer beautifully. On my skin, most of these palettes, they just make my eyes look like dirty in general. Like it just doesn't really look pretty. The colors don't really transfer that well, and I guess this must be my skin tone. There are people who love this brand. It is quite expensive, so it's not about the quality of the product, it's more about who this is actually created for. This palette is the only one that kind of works for me. I like the shades. I'm going to keep it. Yeah. Now this one over here is Trixie Cosmetics Nighttime Realness, and I really like the blue shades here. I don't think I've ever given this a proper go, although I think this was actually included in one of the advent calendars or something, or like Christmas boxes. And to me, these shades are much more summery, so I'm definitely willing to give it like a proper go this summer. I'm going to keep this one. This one here, Eye Candy in the nude, a very pretty nudie palette, but again, I feel like I have these shades in other palettes, so I don't think I'll be using this. So I'm going to declutter this one. Next up, the Lila. These are the shades, quite pretty, but I find them quite uninspiring. I don't really reach for this palette, like literally ever. So yeah, time to say goodbye. Juvia's Place, the Rebel Honey. I mean, I really love this packaging, but also the shades are so cute. So yeah, I'm keeping this one. This Bella Pierre one, it's only natural eyeshadow palette. Very wearable, very pretty shades, but I do have so many of these that it's easy pass for me. I'm going to declutter it. And now we have only 3 left. This Ilamasca palette. This is one of those like full-on matte palettes. And I kind of like the look of it, but I never use it. I'm going to keep it because I don't think I've ever used it actually. So I'm going to keep it. I'm going to try and give it like a proper go. And we'll see. I'm going to keep it for now. Next up we have this Larizzi palette in shade Royal. And these are the shades. They are quite pretty. I think I actually used this palette a couple of times and I liked it. So I'm going to keep this one. And then the last one and the last decision I need to make. This is Wonder Beauty Wondrous Seascape. And I've kept this palette for so long because I really like this blue shade. But first of all, I never use it. Even the blue shade that I'm keeping this for. So maybe it's time that we part our ways. Yeah, let's just declutter this. Okay, so that's it. These are the palettes I actually managed to declutter. I quickly counted them. And if I'm correct, I managed to declutter 29 palettes. That's not bad for a video that wasn't even supposed to be a declutter video. Anyway guys, this is everything from me today. Thank you very much for watching. For more beauty related content, check these videos on the screen and I'm going to see you very soon. Take care. Bye!